FBI, DEA. Mes amis, mes amis, mes amis. Oh, FBI, DEA. Mes amis.
Welcome to Caribbean Innovation Ventures. My name is Sonja Salser and I'm the founder. Today, I'm delighted to speak with Alexandra Bernadotte, founder and CEO of Beyond 12. Alex, thank you for speaking with us today.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here, Sonja. Thank you for having me.
So, Alex, what exactly is Beyond 12? Tell me about your organization.
Yeah, happy to. Beyond 12 is a national technology-based nonprofit organization. Our mission is to increase the number of students from low-income communities who graduate from U.S. colleges and universities. And we do that in a couple of different ways. First, we do that through a technology platform where we collect data about how kids are doing once they get into college and once they enter the workforce. We synthesize the data and we feed it back to their high schools to help them make decisions about the efficacy of their college readiness models and programs, so they know exactly what's happening to their kids once they get to college. And then the second part of the model is that we use the data to identify the kids who are in most need of help, and we match them with virtual college coaches. And for us, it's this combination of a high-tech and a high-touch model that we believe allows us to impact not just the students that we're working with directly, but the colleges that they're attending, or the high schools that they graduated from, or the after-school programs or the scholarship organizations that provided them with direct support.
Wow, this is very impactful. Why did you start Beyond 12?
You know, I started the organization in large part to help address some of the challenges that I faced. I was born in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, IET, and I grew up in inner city Boston. I was the first person in my family to go to college. And I remember when I went to Dartmouth in Hanover, New Hampshire. And my family, when we got on that campus, we just assumed that the most difficult part of the journey was behind us. We thought, we've made it, you know, the entire journey was about going to college. And we didn't anticipate that the most difficult part of the journey was behind us. I had a very difficult transition from high school to college. I struggled academically, I struggled socially, I struggled financially and emotionally. And that struggle really floored me. I didn't understand it because I had always done well in challenging courses in high school. But I'd like to say that experience planted the seed for Beyond 12 for me, because it left me asking lots of questions. Why did this happen to me? Why does this happen to so many students, you know, with backgrounds and stories similar to mine? What could I have done differently? But most important, what could the institutions in my story have done differently? What could my high school have done to better prepare me, or my college have done to better support me? And I think those early experiences planted the seed for Beyond 12, because I wanted to ensure that no other student faced the same kind of challenges that I did on their road to earning a college degree.
Wow, wow. So how long has Beyond 12 been in existence, and what has been some of the impact?
Yeah, so I founded the organization in late 2009. We started operating in 2010. And at the time we launched, we were piloting a program with about 450 students. Today, we're tracking the progress of about 63,000 college students.
Wow.
And we're coaching 3,000 students across the US. And in terms of impact, you know, we're still very early stage organization. We're not a startup yet, but we're still young. But we've been seeing some very amazing indicators of success. So 82% of the students that we coached from our high school class of 2011, and that's about 605 students or so, have persisted through their third year of college. And for us, that's pretty powerful, because these are students who are the first in their families to go to college, many times from underserved and under-resourced communities, many from ethnic minority groups that haven't traditionally gone to college. So we're very happy with the early results, but of course, as a social entrepreneur, I want more. You know, I want to do more, and I want to do more for kids, but that's been the early impact so far. And we're working right now with over 120 organizations across the country.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. Any plans for setting up the organization in Haiti? What are your thoughts, or in the Caribbean in general?
You know, we get asked that question a lot, and that certainly would be a dream of mine. I feel like once I've solved the American Educational Challenge. I want to turn my focus to my beloved Haiti. We don't have any plans yet. Right now we're a very US-based organization, and I feel like we have so much work to do in the United States, but it's certainly something that I'm looking to, right? I'm trying to figure out how I can impact education in Haiti, and I don't know if it's going to be through Beyond 12 or through another kind of organization, but Haiti obviously is very close and near and dear to my heart, so I want to do everything that I can to help address the education challenges that are facing the students of Haiti and the people of Haiti as well.
Awesome. I had an opportunity to go visit Haiti a couple of years ago, and the people are lovely, very hardworking, and so much to do though. So I'm glad that at some point.
How did you go? What was the opportunity?
Oh, I went immediately right after the earthquake to help. We went via a church group, and it was just amazing just to work and to help, and I enjoyed it. I hope to go back. I actually felt at home. It was very interesting.
So nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing that. Really, thank you.
So tell me, in terms of starting this organization, what are some of the challenges that you've faced?
Oh my gosh, how long do we have? How long do we have to talk about the challenges? There were so many challenges. I mean, I think the first one is obviously capital, right? I mean, you're starting an organization, you need funding. When I think about my peers who started organizations who weren't from the Caribbean or who weren't African American, oftentimes they had networks, right? They had uncles who had money that could potentially provide them with some capital, or they would do a friends and family seed round, you know, and I'm like, my friends and family don't have money to help me launch an organization. But the capital, you know, initially the startup capital, getting enough capital to really launch your idea was a big thing. I was able to be incubated by a wonderful organization called New Schools Venture Fund, and I think that's how we got the energy, you know, particularly the philanthropic energy that we needed to launch, but really trying to figure out where that capital is going to come from was pretty key. The other one is just limited bandwidth, right? And so there's so many things that need to happen when you're launching an organization. And then I thought it was a good idea to also have a child at the same time that I was doing this. So trying to, you know, balance just home life and work life and you know, waking up every morning with a to-do list that was like 70 items, you know, on the to-do list, and knowing that there are only a certain number of hours in the day. How do you get it all done? But most importantly, how do you prioritize, right? So you're getting the right things done, even though you can't do everything that you possibly can. Another big challenge is that, you know, we were trying to change the system. You know, it wasn't, for me, it wasn't just about one kid at a time. Although that's very important, I really want to impact this issue by the millions, right? How do we help the hundreds of thousands of kids from low-income communities who go to college each year and face these hurdles? So we're trying to change the way that high schools, you know, are done. And I don't know how much you know about high schools, but we were set up at a time in the United States back in the 1800s, right? And we've seen all of this innovation with social media and the iPhone, but a classroom still looks the exact same today as it did back in the 1800s. And so how do you change institutions that don't necessarily want to be changed? And that the same thing goes for colleges as well. So trying to change a system that has been around for so long and that sometimes seems very intractable, you know, another big challenge for us.
It's a tall order. So
very much a tall order. But I think all entrepreneurs, you know, we're trying to change systems and movements face those kinds of challenges.
That is correct. How do you stay motivated, and how do you motivate your colleagues, your employees, your team?
Yeah, for me, the motivation comes from always asking myself the why. You know, we always have the what and the what are the strategies, what do we do? We have a product, we have a service. But always reminding myself it's in service of who and why are we doing this work, right? So why am I doing this work? What's the personal passion that's connected? But ultimately it's about students, about changing students' lives, about changing students and impacting students who look like me, you know, who have stories and backgrounds similar to mine. So always keeping the personal story. And it's hard for us as an organization because we're about data and big data, you know, and technology. and using that to impact lives, but always coming back to the personal stories and remembering our individual students' names, you know, like Jasenia and Karen and all of the students on whose behalf we do the work. And I think it's the same thing for our staff. So always remembering and reminding our staff to have their why stories. Why are you doing this work? What are you in it for? What motivates you? You know, and how can we get the best out of you by always tapping on the things that are motivating you to do this work.
Awesome. So I know you recently launched an app. Tell me more about that.
Our app, so, you know, we're happy with the results that we were getting. You know, 82% is really great, and we know that the current model works. However, it goes back to what I was saying in terms of addressing this issue systemically. We knew that if we wanted to achieve the vision of addressing college persistence rates at scale, right, that we had to create a different model. And so the app for us was an opportunity to translate the most effective aspect of our human coaching curriculum into a highly scalable digital tool, you know, that we call My Coach, right? And so we worked over the past 9 months with human-centered design firm IDEO. We worked with a lot of our students to really get them to design what they felt, you know, would help them address their college challenges. And the result of those one-on-one interviews and co-creation workshops with them and listening to their stories and their voices was this app. And so we've launched it recently. It's a mobile app that's available in both Android and iOS. And the general idea is that the app really helps students navigate their college experience, you know, from helping them answer big picture questions like, do I belong here? You know, is college really for me? Am I college material? Why should I stick with this? To the smallest details like, when should I renew my financial aid? Or, you know, when's the add drop deadline for my college? The app really helps them navigate their college experience. And the primary feature is that it helps them translate essential college tasks, you know? So many of our students don't have a lot of room for error, and often one missed deadline, you know, can derail their entire college experience. So through a campus-specific, automatically generated to-do list, you know, we are translating these essential college tasks into bite-sized, actionable steps that students can understand, and we're augmenting that with push notifications and nudges through the app to really remind them of these deadlines and to remind them why it is that they're doing what they're doing. So we're excited about it. Right now the app is in the hands of about 1,000 students who are actively using the app, and we're hoping to keep them actively engaged, and we're also studying it for the next 3 years. So we have a group of researchers and evaluators who are really going to look at the tangible results and really help us answer the question, does this app have the same effectiveness, potentially, as a human support, you know, coach or a mentor, or what's the right combination that allows you to really help a student persist and graduate, and then how do you scale that?
Got it. So can anyone sign up to use the app, or do they have to be enrolled in Beyond 12?
So they have to have a special code right now. So it's a closed app because we're testing, you know, we're testing different messages and different ideas, and we're rolling this out to students, getting their feedback, and then updating the app. But eventually we know that we'll probably be able to offer this to students at, you know, writ large, but right now it's just the students who are involved with Beyond 12.
Got it. So what's next for Beyond 12?
The question, the $1 million question. So we're 5 years old, which is great, right? And so we know that we've been able to demonstrate that there is a need in the field for the work that we're doing. We know that folks are interested in buying our products and services. And so right now, at the end of year 5, we're looking to answer that question. What do the next 3 to 5 years look like? And so one of the ways that we're answering that question is that we are actually going to be working with McKinsey, the consulting firm, to help us create a growth plan and a growth strategy for the next 3 to 5 years. And during that process, we will be talking to our students and external stakeholders and our board and our staff to really help us look at what are the past accomplishments, and then where do we go from here? How do we grow? What's our replication strategy if there is one? How do we really reach this goal of impacting millions of students, from low-income communities? So the immediate next steps is that we try to answer those questions, right? We work with a consulting firm to create a growth plan. But in terms of generally speaking, we hope to continue to have the impact. We hope that the app, allows us to really change the game in the way that we know that it can. We hope to hire more staff. So right now we're at a staff of about 17 full-timers and 3 part-timers. So we're anticipating that we'll probably double in size over the next 1 to 2 years.
Wow.
And we're hoping to continue to impact students in very innovative ways, that allow us to not just change individual students' lives, but also the institutional barriers and the challenges that we know come up. And the other piece is that there is a presidential election coming up, in the next couple of years. So we're hoping that we can also get involved in the policy decisions for these different candidates to really help them think about how they can create policies that will allow us to create pathways so that every single student will have the opportunity, to earn a very high quality post-secondary degree, because as a country, demographically, we know where the United States is heading, and we can no longer afford to educate just a select few.
Right, that is correct. What advice would you give to social entrepreneurs who are in the Caribbean? Maybe a special word to those in Haiti.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, the general advice is to be prepared, right?
Okay.
To do your homework, to understand what are the challenges that you're trying to solve. Oftentimes we see a lot of entrepreneurs with a solution looking for a problem, rather than a problem that's in need of solving. And I think it's a big thing now. Everybody wants to build an app, or wants to do something like that. But to always come back to what's the problem that you're trying to solve, right? And in terms of people's lives, how are you trying to impact that? And it could be in so many different ways, but to always do the homework to understand what's the challenge, right? And then how are you building the solution? So that would be the first piece of advice. And I think to just keep at it, to persevere. I heard so many no's before I heard yeses, right? And I still hear no's, right? And so it's to figure out how to let the no's roll off your back, If you have a good idea, you believe in the work that you want to do, you've done your homework and you're prepared, to keep plugging away, keep working at it, because eventually, the hard work will pay off. So that's really the tough piece of being a social entrepreneur, that at some points you hear so many no's that you just want to give up. And so I just want to say to all of my Caribbean social entrepreneurs, don't give up. And to my Haitian entrepreneurs, I really want you guys to understand that if it can happen for me, it can happen for you as well. Pa kite person di ou que ou pa kapab paske ou kapab fè n'importe sa ou ne.
Great words of advice. Awesome. Never give up. Don't give up. Thank you. So my final question for you is, what's your favorite Caribbean dish?
Let's see. I have so many. I love Caribbean food, and I live in San Francisco now. Not a lot of good Caribbean restaurants, as you know, Sandra. We gotta cobble it all together. The East Coast now, definitely has a lot of good food. But okay, in terms of Haitian food, it's banan pesé and griot is what we call it, and it's fried plantains, the green plantains. And then there's this fried pork dish. That's the griot is what we call it, right? So banan pesé and griot. But I can go anywhere, right? So if I think of like Jamaican food, I love ackee and saltfish, obviously patties, Jamaican patties are another thing. Rice and beans, so anything. But yeah, those are some of my particular favorites.
Great, yes, and I want to give a specific mention to a great Jamaican restaurant that is actually in Palo Alto. I'm not sure if you know it.
I know Backyard. That's the thing.
Chef Robert.
Yes,
that's a great
big
job.
ups to Chef Roberts, because when we were living on the peninsula, I used to be at Backyard all the time, and they catered every event that I had. My son's baptism, everything was catered by Backyard. But the drive gets a little bit, it's a little hard to go from Oakland. All the way, and then from San Francisco. But yes, definitely a big up to Backyard.
Yes. So Alex, thank you so much for spending this time with us. Beyond 12 is doing amazing work. You are an awesome leader, so I'm really looking forward to your vision for the future and how you're going to be leading your team. So
thank you, Sanja, and thank you for having us. I mean, having the Beyond 12 story, having me, it's amazing to amplify the voices of Caribbean social entrepreneurs. So I thank you for the opportunity and for amplifying our voice.
Yes, I believe the entrepreneurs in the Caribbean, their voices deserve to be amplified, as you said. So, to my Caribbean audience, I want to remind you to reach for the sky, because if you fall, you're gonna fall on coconut trees. But if you reach for coconut trees, you're gonna fall on the ground. Thanks.
Mes amis, ça fait des hommes pas ouais. Paye-moi changer